Hi, John Dickson here from the Centre for Public Christianity. What about the Easter events of Jesus' life? You may be surprised to know that there's a broad consensus here too. Few biblical historians accept all of the details in the Gospel accounts, to the chagrin of some Christians, but the vast majority, whether Jewish, Christian or agnostic, agree that these writings, the Gospels, have preserved a reliable core of information about the tumultuous final days of Jesus' life. He created a public disturbance in the Jerusalem temple shortly before his arrest. He shared a final Passover meal with his disciples. He was arrested by the priestly elite and handed over to the Romans. He was crucified for treason under the mocking charge, King of the Jews. These are the accepted facts of the Easter narrative. Christian apologists may often exaggerate these facts, but the new atheists simply ignore them. Consider Michel Onfray's historical commentary in the Atheist Manifesto. He says that Jews at the time were not crucified but stoned to death. I have to say, this is historical nonsense. We have a whole video on the evidence for Jewish crucifixion and Jesus' crucifixion in particular, and let me encourage you to dig that out. Okay, but what about the resurrection? Despite the arguments of some Christian apologists, most mainstream scholars don't treat the resurrection itself as belonging to their field of inquiry. Actually, it's similar to Jesus' healings. Historians would not say that Jesus actually performed miracles, because that would be to turn from history to philosophy and theology. They can only say that Jesus did things which those around him interpreted as miraculous. It's the same with the resurrection. No historian wearing his or her historical cap would say that God raised Jesus from the dead, because that's a theological interpretation of the evidence. What most scholars do affirm is more modest, though not without significance. Jesus' tomb was empty shortly after his crucifixion, and significant numbers of men and women experienced what they believed to be appearances of the risen Jesus. Now, we have a whole bunch of videos on the theme of Jesus' resurrection, and I hope you can check that out at your leisure. Christianity is going to continue to lay its neck on the chopping block of public scrutiny, inviting anyone who wishes to come and take a swing. My hope is that the skeptics will go about this with a little less dogmatism, and that Christians will avoid both an accommodating retreat from history and an overreaching historical apologetics. The truth lies elsewhere. While it isn't possible to prove every detail, the core of the Jesus story is historically sound, and it is frankly intellectually irresponsible to say otherwise. Believers could learn to be a little less defensive. Skeptics could read more widely. Then, as the dust settles, we might be able to enjoy a more measured conversation about the hugely significant figure at the heart of the Christian faith.